This webinar, which we will be speaking to you for about an hour today, will help you become better versed at how to make yourself visible at the show, both in advance, at the show, and after the show. We want to make sure that you get the most from your experience, and that we are delivering that value to you that you have come to expect from us. I'm Perry Reynolds, and I'm here with Debbie Teschke.
Good afternoon.
And Nancy Michael.
Hello.
As you can see, our full contact information is up on the screen. If you have a question for us after the event, please make sure that you communicate directly with us. We'd be happy to answer your questions. It is our goal, as I said earlier, to make you a success at the show. And I think we've got some tools that we're going to talk about over the next hour that will really help you. One thing to know is that you can ask questions during the webinar at any time. Use your chat function to submit questions. We have someone who will be either answering your questions or passing them on to us, depending on the nature of the question. And also know that this webinar is being recorded and that you will be able to send your team to our website to look at this webinar and listen to it after the event as well. So just keep that in mind. I want to start out by talking about what your goals are for the show. What we expect, each of us, that we will have goals for almost every endeavor in our lives. The show is no different. These are some of the goals that I think many people have told us about, and maybe you have all of these as your goals. You want to increase your sales, you want to find new customers, you want to reach international markets, you want to grow your gross profit, you want to grow your market share, develop key top-to-top relationships with retail partners, and generating consumer interest through media exposure, which Debbie will talk about later on. I think many of you, all of these are your goals. We can help you with many of these, and we're going to talk a little bit about that going forward in this hour. Regardless, it's important to set goals. You should make goals for the show, whether your goals are targeted at the number of retailers you want to see at the show and what you want to have happen in each of those meetings. Whether they're that specific, they should still be very specific. And I also think that it is meaningful to create a follow-up plan in advance. We'll talk about some tools that you'll have the opportunity to work with here. But one thing that I did want to share here is that we have talked to people time and time again who have told us that they have used the tools we're going to talk about to make themselves very successful. Some have been very offbeat about it. One of our exhibitors once told us that they had created business plans for their top 150 customers and prospects, formalized them, brought them to the show, put them in a binder, so when anybody walked into the booth, anybody would be able to share that with them. You may not want to go that far, you may not want to be that specific, but again, I think you certainly want to have a plan so that when a prospect buyer walks in your booth, you know exactly what you want to talk to them about. We're going to talk today about helping you attract buyers. We're going to talk about Housewares Connect 365, which is a tool to help you attract buyers, media, and consumers. And then Debbie's going to talk about how to reach the consumer using our news media tools at the show.
Sure.
This is a picture of our beautiful marketing kit, which was sent to you in the fall. If you don't have a copy of this marketing kit, if it never got to you, all of the information we're going to talk about is at housewares.org/marketing. I would encourage you after the webinar to go into the marketing kit at housewares.org/marketing, and you'll see a sort of a recap of all the things that we're talking about today. I'm going to start talking about attracting buyers to your booth, and I'm going to divide it up before the show, during the show, and show follow-up. To just make it simple for you, but we're getting closer and closer to the show. We're about 40 days, 30, 40 days out from the show, so I think it's time to really get moving on a lot of these, on a lot of your plans. So let's get started with this. Before the show, there are three things I want to talk to you about, or there are three things that you can do. I'm going to talk about two of them: the 2013 show buyer lists and the Housewares Connect 365. We'll talk about both of those. The innovation alert does go out before the show, and we'll talk about that, but it is really a part of an at-show package that we'll talk about more in a minute. Perhaps the most meaningful tool that any show would ever give you is the complete list of buyers who attended the show. You have access today at this login to the 2013 show buyer list. There are actually two lists there. They are in Excel. They are the two buyer lists that are there are U.S. buyers and non-U.S. buyers. In addition, and Debbie will talk about this later, you'll also find the media list there. For the retailers, the list is sortable in a number of different ways. This is literally a record of the registrations for every one of the buyers that registered for the show last year. It is sortable in a number of ways that I think will be meaningful for you. It is sortable by retail channel. It is sortable by the person's responsibility. It is also sorted by the products they told us they were coming to the show to buy. So you can sort it in any of those ways. In addition, you get the buyer's first and last name, their title in long form if they told us what it was. And they also tell us what their specific responsibility or level of responsibility is, their phone number, their fax number, and their street address. You do not get their email. They have specifically told us they don't want that to be shared, but they don't mind you reaching out to them before the show by other channels. One of the things that we talk about often here is how those of us who are old enough to remember when fax machines first came around, when a fax came in, it was a big deal and everybody got around the fax machine. Well, believe it or not, the same thing happens now because nobody uses the fax anymore. At the bottom of the slide there, you see something that says 3 touches. I would strongly recommend that this is based on experience. We've heard it from exhibitors. We had one last year that actually coined this phrase for us. She told me that she reached out to every one of her key prospects and touched them 3 times, whether it was mailing them a sample, whether it was sending them a we're at this booth notification, whether it was faxing them something, whether it was reaching out in some other way by phone, literally inviting them to the booth. I went by that booth last year and it was busy literally the whole show. So I would encourage you to adopt at least some version of 3 touches. Again, it's a chance for you to reach out, find the buyers you're looking for. If you, for instance, wanted a list of every independent kitchenware store that came to the show, or every specialty retailer, and the owners of each store, you can actually sort a list of just those people. And I would encourage you to think about that. If you have trouble sorting those lists, send me an email. I'll be happy to help you find your way through it. But this is an extremely valuable tool. The Innovation Alert is a way to let 40,000 buyers, that is everybody in our database, know about your new products before the show. We send it to every email address of a buyer that we know, U.S. and non-U.S. It is literally a list of all the products that are in the new product showcases. It goes about 10 days before the show. It is a side benefit of being a part of the new product showcase, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Housewares Connect 365 is now in its 4th year. It is a tool that we are happy to say we built here at the International Housewares Association, and it has become an extremely valuable opportunity for you to reach out to buyers, to media, and as it turns out, consumers. Million's a big number. There were 1 million searches on this tool at the show last year. I expect there will be at least that many this year. It is one of the things that we have found is that our search engine optimization is at such a level that it is very likely that that your listing on Housewares Connect 365 may, in fact, return on Google before your listing in your own company. So I would encourage you to make sure that you have gone into Housewares Connect 365. We'll tell you how to do that in a minute. Listings with catalogs, product images, anything with a visual were viewed more often than those without. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. We pitch this to buyers. We tell them that it can really help them. We have gotten enormous positive feedback, both from independent retailers and from mass merchants. The senior VP at Walmart told me that her team uses it religiously. Independent retailers tell us that it is their tool for planning their trip to the show. They can create a briefcase, they can save their searches, they can create a custom floor plan, and we'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. They can communicate with you through the listing that you put in, either through your company email, through your address. They can communicate with you. They can access saved searches and floor plans while they're at the show at our kiosks. And of course, they have year-round access, and we'll talk a little bit later about how to make sure you're doing this year-round. Buyers can search for you in a number of ways. Far and away, the number one way that they search for you is by keyword, and that'll come into play here in a minute when we talk about how to optimize yourself through your description and so forth. But they can search by company name, they can search by show category, they can search by brands and licenses. You can see all of the issues, all of the ways that they can search for you there. Debbie will talk about the one at the bottom during her presentation. Remember, this is an open forum. Everybody can see it. If you've got something you don't want your competitor to see, please don't put it up there because it will be available. Although Debbie will tell you in New Products for the News Media that it's only available to the news media. So if you'd like the news media to know, but nobody else know, you can put those kind of products in that section. So here's how it can help you. It'll help people find you. We have over 500,000 annual visitors to our website. In fact, that's growing now at about a 20% clip. It allows you to communicate directly with buyers and media through your message center, and I'll talk about that in a second. You can add a company description, you can add catalogs, product images, videos, your company logo. You can talk about in-booth appearances. You can talk about how your products are made in the USA. You can tell people that you have show specials. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. We don't want to know what they are. We just want you to be able to tell people that you've got them. And you can add press releases, events, milestones, other items as well. This is where you go to do this. This is also the place that the first part of this is your show directory listing. The second part of it, and of course all of that information is contained on Housewares Connect 365. There's a very small print note at the bottom, but I really would like to make this clear. Housewares Connect 365 is free to you. There is no charge to use Housewares Connect 365. In fact, most of the things we're going to talk about today, there's no charge. And the only, as you may know, the International Housewares Association is a not-for-profit. Our job is to put on the best show we can for you, the most effective show. We do all kinds of free things for the buyers, and we try to do everything we can for you at the lowest possible price or for free. But there are organizations that are contacting our exhibitors all the time, making them sign contracts, and actually, because signed contracts are signed, people are having to pay for directory listings, not our directory, but pay for directory listings that are not appropriate, not meaningful, not helpful. So if anybody approaches you and asks you to pay for a listing, you know that it's not us. Your show directory, paper directory at the show, and online directories are free of charge at IHA.
Perry, we have a couple questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Is there an optimum time before the show for the 3 contacts?
I would encourage you to, as close as we are to the show now, to begin to make them now. Depending on where you are in your business life cycle, I'm going to guess that before January 1st is probably less effective, but certainly beginning now, and depending on the message, I'd space them out. Just remember that buyer behavior, just like all of our behaviors, the closer we get to the show, the more heads up they become and the more planning they're doing. But also, that's when the traffic gets heaviest too. So you might be able to make an impression earlier, but I would certainly start now. You've got 4.5 or 5 weeks to the show, and I think that if you space them out between now and then, I think that would be helpful.
And I think you're going to get to this in a bit, but can you explain what a catalog page should include?
I will, and we'll get to that in fact, almost immediately. So, another question, Debbie, or no?
Oh, that'll be it.
Okay, thank you. If you look on the left-hand side of the slide on the screen, and you will see a number of bullet points and something at the top called a message center. If you come into this page to set up your directory, and most of you have done this already because we're getting very close to directory deadline time. We're actually past it on, but you will already have done some of this, but probably not all of it. But we ask you to confirm your company name, and then at the end of doing that, just like tax software, it'll rotate you to the next section. The next section is your on-site contacts for the show. It's and you get to give us 4, I believe, of 4 on-site contacts. And we make sure that they're the right ones. There's a specialty retailer contact, an international contact, and domestic contact,
and a public relations contact. And if I can encourage you to list somebody as your PR contact, because I get calls from editors all the time looking for a contact at a company, and we send them to Housewares Connect 365 to find that person.
The next option on this screen, thank you, Deb. The next option on the screen is brands and licenses. We want to make sure that we have those right. If you have new ones, if you have deals you just made, please put them here. There oftentimes buyers will want to create a shop of a license, and this is a chance for them to go find all the people at the show who have that license, who are selling it to them. The next one is products. You can click off the products that you're going to be selling at the show. The next one is your company description, or your company profile. And what that one will allow you to do is to tell your story, and tell it in a way that is meaningful and attractive to both buyers and news media. This is a place where, remember I mentioned keyword is the #1 search. If there are things that you want people to know about you and there are keywords attached to them, make sure those words are here in this company description. I would also encourage you to create this description in a tool that gives you edit advice, Microsoft Word, one of them. That way we make sure you spell it right and your grammar is right. I would also encourage you to have somebody else in your company read it just to make sure that it makes sense. Before you put it up here, remember this is your face to the retailer, and you certainly want that to be well said. It does not help you to repeat a word over and over again. The search tool only finds it once. There's no, like in some search tools, there's no benefit for having you do it over and over again. Moving on. Okay, go ahead.
They want you to explain further the brand and license.
I would be happy to. If your company is using a third-party license, Coca-Cola comes to mind. Some people have just Cheerios license, Disney, any of those kinds of licenses. Make sure that you list them here. Make sure also that it is a factual listing as well, because buyers will be using this, and they certainly don't want to be disappointed. Brands would be anything that is in your world that you think a buyer might be searching you for. They will probably also be repeated in your company description, but if you have a brand that a buyer would recognize, if you created a brand and one of your products that a buyer would recognize, make sure that that's listed here as well.
And the next question is, are the company description and product description searchable by Google?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
The next click-through allows you to look at allows the buyer to look at product images, allows you to load product images. There's instruction on the kinds of formats you can use. They're pretty basic formats. I'm sure most of your photos are in those formats already. It is a drag and drop process. You want to reorder the photo order, you can do that in a drag and drop way, so that if you think something is, if something comes up next week that's a brand new product, you can put it right at the front of the line. We'd encourage you, and you'll see a little bit later when you look at Housewares Connect 365, we'd encourage you to make sure you have product images, because those are the ones that are looked at the most, as we mentioned earlier. The next thing you can put up is product catalogs. I think that we did a little research after the last webinar because there were some questions asked about catalog size, and if you want your catalog to be viewed, it should be 10 megabytes at the max. And the smaller, of course, the better, because people's attention wanders after a short period of time. So I would encourage you to make it as small as you can. There is a limit in terms of the size you can put up there, but more importantly, would somebody be able to open it quickly, because that's really what we're looking for. So I would encourage you to, if you have a catalog, I would encourage you to put it up there. But I think that the product images are probably going to be the more powerful of the two.
Just remember, too, with your catalog that it is an open site. So if your catalog has printed wholesale prices in there that you don't want consumers to see or competitors, make sure you put a PDF without it.
Or buyers.
Or buyers.
You may not want anybody to see your pricing. Just make sure your catalog is appropriate for viewing by the entire public. You can also put your company logo up. Again, the same file format restrictions, but it will show up beautifully on your return page, and we'll show you what that looks like in just a second. You can put up company news in the form of press releases, PDFs, et cetera, et cetera. They are, because they're a PDF, they are not searchable by keyword search. You can also put up video. If you have a video on YouTube, you can link it here, and the first frame of the video will show up on your page return listing. We'll show you what that looks like in a minute. There are several, yes.
Somebody wants to know, they only have one product and she's not sure if she's supposed to put it out there or not, and what the product catalog area should look like.
Well, the product catalog is really just the way it returns is a picture of the cover of the catalog. If you only have one product, I would encourage you, if it's appropriate, to use multiple versions of multiple front, back, side kind of thing to give the product its full glory on there if you're putting pictures up. But in terms of a catalog, it'll only show the front page.
And somebody uploaded their information for the deadline yesterday. Can they continue to update the listing?
Yes, and I was going to mention that at the end. This is a live site 365 days a year. We cleverly named it Housewares Connect 365 because we want you to update it on a regular basis. Debbie will tell you later on that she sends media there year-round. We send buyers there year-round. We encourage buyers to go visit there year-round. So the March 19th, if you've got a new product, I would encourage you to put it there because we do send buyers and media there on a regular basis.
And how many images can you upload?
You can I'm not sure the total limit, but I think you can upload images on an infinite basis. The question is whether or not the buyers will look at them on an infinite basis. And as a consequence, I would encourage you to put up your 4, 5, 6 best products. I don't think buyers are going to spend that much time going through a list of 40 products. I'd order them in the way you think they're most important to the buyer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There are some special marketing opportunities here, and there's a click-through for that. And when you get there, you will find a couple of things. You will find Made in USA, and we ask you if your product. This is a buyer and consumer-driven trend, and we would ask you to certify that your products are made in USA, and you'll become part of a search that will. You'll become part of a dedicated search for Made in USA products. In addition, we'd also like for you to tell us whether you have show specials or not. We don't want to know what they are, but the buyers have asked us to highlight the companies that are offering show specials. We'll talk about this a little bit later when we talk about order writing, but it is buyers more and more and more are writing orders at the show and are disappointed if you can't. I do have one exhibitor who checks in with me after the show to give me his tally, and after the last show, and he's been building on this for quite some time. After his last show, he reported he had written over $200,000 worth of orders at the show site, and it was because he offered show specials. So I think it's another way. That's another one of those 3 touches you can use as well.
I'm going to back Perry up to video because we had questions in between, and
Oh, did I mention? I'm sorry, I didn't mention
didn't
that.
really get
Didn't
to
finish it. The video, thank you, Nance. The video piece is if you have a demonstration video or product video, if you were part of one of Debbie's press events in New York and had a video shot there, if there's any kind of video that exists on YouTube, you can link it here, and the buyers will be able to see it. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Thank you, Nancy. The Meet the Designers is a tool that will allow you, if you have a product designer, this is of great interest to media, of some interest depending on the retailer, because we have some very high design retailers who come to the show, gift stores and museum stores and sort of higher end retailers of that sort. Many of them are interested in meeting designers as well. So if you have a designer that's going to be in your booth, let us know, and that will be carried in your Housewares Connect 365 listing. Same with in-booth appearances. If you've got a chef, if you've got an author, if you've got an inventor, if you've got anybody of interest, if you, I understand that Ron Popeil is going to be at the show, and I'm sure that'll be in the listing for the company he's going to be there for. Those kinds of people that would create some additional interest among both media and buyers, I think you would be, you should be placing their names here. And again, this is all part of the searchable piece. One of the things we do charge for, and you can access it here, is duplicate directory listings. This will give you a duplicate directory listing on Housewares Connect 365. It is too late to get one of those in the directory, but it will give you a duplicate directory listing. Why would you want one of those? If you have a company that is really two brands and you want to make sure that people find your second brand, this is an opportunity for you to create that duplicate directory listing so that they can find it. My expectation is that it'll be part of your search capability anyway, but in the show directory it was very helpful, but since we're past the deadline for that, I guess you can do that next year if you wish. Then you will sign off and we'll say thank you, but I want to go back up to the top to that little envelope at the top that says Message Center. The Message Center will allow you to send 3 messages before the show and 1 message after the show to any buyer who has created a briefcase on Housewares Connect, a buyer or media who's created a briefcase on Housewares Connect 365. And you literally go in and pick from a menu of retail channels and products of interest, and you can direct this toward the people that are most appropriate for you. It's fairly simple to find your way through it. It will go to the mailbox of the buyer on Housewares Connect 365, not to their mailbox, but 365. When we send our regular buyer news updates to them, we tell them whether or not they have messages waiting in their personal mailbox and ask them to log in. So it's just another way for you to reach out to them before the show. Oh, we went backwards instead of forwards. Okay, one more. This is what Housewares Connect 365 looks like for the world when they come at it from the outside. As you can see, keyword is the default search, and of course that's the one that's used most often, as I mentioned. There's also the opportunity here to reach out to 2 featured categories. I mentioned Made in USA. We also had a buyer call out for us to be able to help them find all the pet supply folks. They can certainly find it through keyword search, but what we have done is done a call out. It's an important category in the show, but because of the nature of the products, it's in every one of the buildings. As a consequence, buyers have asked us to do that, so we did it. You can also, buyers, you too, if you can view the floor plans by building, you can take a look at those floor plans. There are also several other printable exhibitor lists there. You can, buyers can print, anybody can print a list of all exhibitors by booth number. By alpha order with booth numbers. They can print an exhibitor list by category. They can present a list of new exhibitors. If you're a new exhibitor, that's noted in your record, and you will show up on this list automatically. And also, as I mentioned earlier, a list of exhibitors who have told us they have show specials. And that is updated on a regular basis. You can continue to fill that in at your Housewares Connect 365 login right up to the show. When a buyer searches, and we did a sample search on Joseph, this is actually not quite current, but close enough. I just wanted you to see what it looks like. As you can see, this is a partial return listing of those who are returned. This is what the buyer sees when he or she comes to this site and searches an exhibitor. As you can see, 4 of the 5 have product photos. Only 1 has a video. As you can see, the little video camera. If the buyer clicks on the product photo or the company's name, they go straight to the listing. If they click on the booth number, it shows them where you are on the show floor. And it shows them where you are in the context of the show. On the right-hand side is a plus so that the buyer can add you to their briefcase. We encourage buyers to do that. Many have told us it's a very effective tool for them, so we are encouraging them to do it. It also gives us an opportunity to have them create a briefcase, which gives us an opportunity to let you communicate with them. So we've clicked on Joseph now, and here's where we go to. As you can see, and this is a somewhat not to real-life scale view of what the buyer will see, but we'll show you 2 different screens to show you kind of what Joseph looks like. This is their video, and you can see it's framed right there. They have multiple videos. As you can see, there's more than the 4 that show up. They have elected to put up 4 products. As I mentioned, if you know Joseph, these are not the most current products. But I certainly wanted to show you what it looks like when you get there. In addition, there are some other tabs you can click on that you see down at the bottom, and this next page is what that looks like when you get there. This is their company description. Again, the buyer can click on the booth number at the top to find out where Joseph is located on the floor. Also, you have told us your URL and your company general email address. If a buyer clicks on Joseph, they'll go to their website. If they click on the email address, in most computers it will pop up an email message pre-addressed to you. So that's another way to allow the buyers to connect with you, and you've told us all about that. Those are the contacts that we mentioned at the bottom that are that you have filled out as a part of your directory listing. If that changes even after the directory, but before the show, I would encourage you to update it there so the buyer will know which person to ask for when he or she walks into your booth based on U.S. or non-U.S. sales, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this buyer put Joseph in their briefcase, and if you have very good eyes, you can see the circled black circle with a 1 on it on the right-hand side of the floor plan in the middle. That's where Joseph's booth is. If the buyer had clicked on 10 or 12 or 15, there would be numbers up and down that page. At the bottom of the page would be a listing in numerical order of the number, the company name, and the booth number, so that the buyer can find his or her way around the show and know exactly where to find you. Now, we've completed what you can do before the show. Some of these things that we're going to talk about now to give you exposure during the show, you certainly have to do now. But they will give you exposure while buyers are at the show if somehow you missed them. We do offer a limited number of sponsorships. And some of these sponsorships are taken already, but there is a contact name in the marketing kit. Alyssa Graham is her name, and she will help walk you through what sponsorships are available if you wish to sponsor. We only take sponsorships that make the buyer's life easier at the show. As you know, we provide buyers clubs, more on that in a minute, 1 in each building, and we provide free snacks. We provide free beverages in the buyers clubs, and of course the sponsorship will help us offset that cost. You may also know that we offer every buyer who comes to the show a free lunch every day of the show, and we encourage people to sponsor those buyer lunch areas. They are a clear way to reach the mass of the audience that is in the building you're trying to reach. We also have an international business center at the show, which caters to international people of all stripes, but buyers are there as well. If you wish to be a sponsor of the International Business Center or any of these others, to find out what's left, contact Alyssa Graham. Her contact information is at housewares.org/marketing. The new product showcase is, we're getting very close to at least one of the deadlines for the new product showcase. I mentioned that we have buyers clubs in each building. The new product showcases are located inside the buyers club. What does that mean to you? It means that only buyers and news media can see your product. If you're worried about your competitors seeing the product, your competitors can't get into the buyers club. You can't get into the buyers club. You need to tell us how you want your product presented, and we'll present it. We've been doing this successfully for a number of years. I'm sure we'll be able to help you with that. But in the building, each item is scannable. We offer the buyers a scan gun when they walk into the buyers club. They can scan all the products they wish. They bring the scanner back. We dock the scanner. They get a printout of all of the products that they scanned in booth number order, so that they can easily come find you on the show floor. At the conclusion of the show, each buyer gets a reminder email of all the products that he or she scanned in the buyers clubs. In addition, you get a list of the names of every buyer who scanned your product as a part of the entry fee that you can see is $300 per product. You also get entry in the 2014 IHA Innovation Awards. Fast becoming a very coveted award in our industry. There are 13 categories. We'll talk a little bit more about it later. 13 categories, certain to be one that will be close to your product, that will fit your product. In order to be included in the Innovation Awards, the deadline is February 7th. That's tomorrow. The reason we have an early deadline there is because we have judging. And the judges will start actually on February the 8th, looking at the product, and they will select finalists, and then we'll select winners at the show. The deadline for product entry into the new product showcase is February 21st. I would encourage you, if you want to enter a product, to do it by tomorrow, because the Innovation Awards is a primary value, part of the value of the new product showcase. But if you wish not to, you have up to February 24th or 1st, or until the product showcase in your building is sold out. Your product will be displayed in your building only, the building where your booth is. But some of those sell out kind of early, and I would encourage you to, if you miss the February 7th deadline, to still move swiftly to get your product submitted. The Innovation Alert I mentioned earlier, this is where we send it to every buyer in our database, and again, it will be the company name, the product description, and the booth number. No pictures, no descriptions, no accounts, simply that you have a new product. Another way to entice buyers to come visit your booth. I mentioned that at the conclusion of the show, you will get an email, and they will get an email based on what they scanned in the new product showcase. This is what a new product showcase looks like. As you can see, the buyer there is pointing to a scannable card. That's how they scan the products that they're interested in seeing. We encourage buyers to scan the products, whether they scan or not. Many buyers have told us this is their first stop when they get to a building, is to go into the buyers clubs, check what's new, and it gives them an opportunity to begin their search for new products in a place where they're all aggregated.
Perry, we have a couple questions.
Okay.
Do the judges need the product in hand to be judged for the Innovation Awards, or just pictures?
Here's how this will work. By tomorrow, you submit a picture of your product. They judge your product based on your description of the product, the photo of the product, and their knowledge of the industry. The judges are professionals. They're designers. They're buyers. In some cases, they're media who have been a part of this before and understand our industry very well. If you are a finalist, we will ask you to bring a live sample of your product, and we will do the judging at the show on Friday before the show.
And the next question is the Innovation Alert sent out whether we win the award or not?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Say it again.
Get an alert about who wins the Innovation Award, whether they win or not.
Okay. Two things are perhaps confused here. The Innovation Alert is a listing of all the products that have been submitted for the new product showcase, and that goes out to everybody. We will do a press release of all of the finalists and then of the winners of the Innovation Awards as they are named. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There are 13 categories for the Innovation Awards. As I mentioned, there's a professional judging panel. We will make the announcement of the winners at the show. The judging is done on Friday. Each finalist before the show will get an award to put in their booth, and I would encourage you, if you're a finalist, to put it adjacent to the product in your booth. And then on Saturday afternoon at 4:30 at the show in the Innovation Theater in the lobby of the Lakeside Center, we will announce the winners of each of the 13 categories. Of course, everybody's a winner. We'll unveil, after the winners are named, we'll unveil a display in the Hall of Global Innovation, which is in the lobby of the Lakeside Center, that will have all of the products listed and the winner's product showcased in that display. So every finalist will be mentioned there. Those finalists are also mentioned. I didn't fail to say this earlier. The finalists are called out in the new product showcases as well in the appropriate building. This is what, as I said in our last webinar, this is what a happy winner looks like. This is really a wonderful opportunity for your company to promote itself. If you're a winner, we've watched people put icons on their product, on the product packaging. As Debbie will tell you, it's great for public relations. It's great for consumer interest. We would encourage you to take this seriously. You have one more day to get your product in. A couple other ways for you to get noticed at the show. We had buyers coming to us for a number of years, particularly independent, smaller retailers, who say, we don't know what companies are friendly to us. We've created a kind of a matchmaking program. This goes back 8 or 9 or 10 years now. And it really is pretty simple. You tell us that you are friendly to independent retailers. Some of you may or may not know that they have special requirements. Some have dating requirements. Some have case pack requirements. Some have maximum or minimum order requirements that maybe larger retailers wouldn't have a problem with. If you're willing to work with them, we would encourage you to let them know that you are interested in selling to them. We have signs and buttons that you can use in your booth. The deadline to sign up for these has passed, but you can pick these up at the floor manager's desks in each expo hall, and we encourage you to do this when you get to the show. It is a great way for you to show that you're friendly to independent retailers. I mentioned earlier that order writing is picked up at the show, and based on our post-show surveys, 50% of exhibitors who answered the survey reported writing orders with independent retailers. We want you to be prepared to write those orders. Debbie is just now sending out a newsletter with quotes from independent retailers talking about some of them, in some cases, how they're disappointed that exhibitors aren't able to write orders at the show. At the very least, we'd like for you to be forewarned and forearmed. So in the marketing kit that we sent you in the fall, and at housewares.org/marketing, you can get this form that's up on the screen now. It's real simple. It's real basic. But if a buyer sneaks in and wants to write an order, if you don't have your own order form, here's an opportunity for you to capture that business lead. Don't necessarily have to ship it. You can do credit checks later. They might want to pay you with Visa and MasterCard. You can certainly take that. But at any rate, just wanted you to be ready, because more and more buyers, as the percentage of independent retailers grows at our show, more and more buyers are wanting to write orders at the show. Another important tool for you, and we're more than halfway done with our allotment of these, is the in-booth lead retrieval devices. And you would probably call them badge scanners. These devices allow you to scan buyers' badges. There are two different devices available. Right now, the handheld device has kind of taken the lead in terms of the number that we've have been committed so far. But they are, with handhelds, you do not need electricity. With the desktop model, you do need to have electricity in your booth. There are advantages to both. One of them, the desktop model, everybody knows where to find. The handheld model will be in somebody's hand. You can order multiples, but you'll have to pay for the second and third and fourth ones if you wish to have multiples. But we are giving these away free, and it's a tremendous value. It is also a way to get buyer email addresses, immediate email addresses, because we presume that a badge scan is the same as a business card exchange. So we would encourage you to order one of these two. Last year we recorded 34,000 booth visits, but deadline's February 14th. You do have to leave a credit card because if you lose the equipment, you have to pay for it. But we would encourage you to do this and do it quickly because half are gone. There are also, if you're interested in more sophisticated lead retrieval tools, at housewares.org/marketing, there are a list of others, including this very nifty thing that allows you, to everybody in your team, to have an app on their phone, and you can scan with your phone, and it's pretty cool. But I would encourage you to look at one of the free ones, or if you have a taste for something more sophisticated, I would encourage you to look for to look at what's at housewares.org/marketing under the Buyer Connect lead retrieval tab on the site.
A couple things here that will tie into your pre-planning and your show follow-up would be the desktop model of this prints paper. A lot of people like the paper because you can write a note on it and you can attach a business card to it. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about how you're going to follow up with all these buyers that you're going to meet at the show. The handheld is all electronic. You receive your list electronically, you scan electronically, etc. So those are just two things to note. Again, we encourage you to go sign up for this at Housewares/marketing and get your order form in immediately because these units every year sell out.
That's housewares.org/marketing. That's okay. Just step back for just a minute. I think I gave you some erroneous information earlier. The specialty retailer program, you can still fill out the form and have signs and buttons delivered to your booth. What you can no longer do is be recognized in the show directory as a specialty retailer specialist. But you can still do that. Similar for the home signs, this is about as dumb as it gets, but we've developed a sign that says new for the home. And we instruct buyers to look for these signs in booths. Put it next to your newest product. Buyer walking down the aisle sees it next to the product, says, oh, that looks interesting. It's another way to encourage buyers to step into your booth. You can also, if you fail to do this before the show, you can pick these up at the floor manager's desks as well. But again, I would encourage you to you got so many things to think about. If you do it now, or by February 21st, we will deliver a packet of signs to your booth before the show. I mentioned Made in USA earlier. Again, buyers and consumers are telling us this is important to them. And it's not just U.S. buyers, it's international buyers as well. If you go to Housewares Connect 365, certify that you're Made in USA, by February 21st, we will deliver a sign to your booth that says, cleverly, Made in USA. Not all of your products in your booth have to be Made in USA, but you have to have a significant product offering. Buyers are expecting to see Made in USA products. Certainly don't lead them astray. The last thing you want to do is upset a buyer and promise them something that's not there. But I would encourage you, if you have a product Made in USA, as some of you may have seen, the largest brick-and-mortar retailer, the largest retailer in the United States, has claimed that they're going to buy $50 billion worth of products made in the USA over the next 10 years. Independent retailers tell us all the time that that's important to their customers. So, again, if you have a product made in the USA, make certain that you certify it on Housewares Connect 365 and make sure that you have one of our signs in your booth, because we, again, tell buyers to look for that sign. I mentioned earlier about show specials. Again, you sign up for it before the show on Housewares Connect 365. believe it or not, I mean, this is one of the oldest tools there is, but come to my booth, and I've got a deal for you. And I think it's, some buyers don't want to stop. Some buyers will make a special pilgrimage to your booth to get a price.
Perry?
Yes.
Can you define made in the USA? If it's assembled here but raw materials are from overseas, is it made in the USA?
There's a complete description of what made in USA means on Housewares Connect 365. As you might imagine, it's a really complex definition, but I would refer you to Housewares Connect 365 to take a look at the criteria we asked you to certify. My sense is that the example you just gave me does not certify as made in USA based on that criteria.
And just to confirm, you said that the deadline for the Innovation Awards was tomorrow, but it's really February 7th. Tomorrow is the 6th.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Nancy mentioned earlier, we encourage you to create a follow-up plan before the show. We encourage you to execute it when you get done. We will also provide you with a 2014 buyer list after the show. This says late April. My guess is it's probably going to be closer to mid-April that you will have this list. I would use this list in several different ways. The Buyer Connect, that is the scan gun or scan box badge scan data will arrive right after the show, the middle of the week after the show. Also, the people who are scanned in the scan product, your product, the new product showcase, that will arrive that next week. The buyer list, and as Debbie will tell you later, the media list will be available in mid-April. We encourage you to use that list to go find people that didn't come to your booth, or to confirm information about people who did that you might have lost. That list is available to you. I will tell you that if you combine the 2013 and the 2014 buyer lists, you will have the most complete list of U.S. buyers and an extremely robust list of international buyers for you and your sales team to work with. And now over to Debbie.
All right, now we're going to talk about how you can reach the consumer through the news media that attend the show and those that don't attend the show. As you can see, the show, the 2013 show generated 300 million consumer impressions in the news media. And a consumer impression is simply the total Nielsen viewer number from the TV and radio broadcasts that we had at the show, plus the circulation of newspaper and magazine clips and internet articles if they provided that. And then we add that all together, and that gives us the number of consumer impressions. That's basically the number of people that have, saw the TV show or, saw the clip, read the article in the newspaper or on the internet. And so that's a lot of people over the year that are going to be seeing the information about the Housewares show and your products. And we really want to be able to help you be part of that consumer number in the coming year. Now, some of you may work with a PR team or a PR agency, and sometimes they multiply the number to consider pass-along copies of newspapers, but our number is just pure. We don't do any manipulation to it. So it may even be larger than the 300 million. And you're wondering, Deb, do you do this all yourself? No, I don't. I have a team of freelance PR people who are pitching the show right now to the consumer media to get them to attend and cover the show, or if they can't make it, we work with them to try and write articles or do something, coverage of the show either before or after the show to help you get some exposure. So now I'm going, as Perry talked about with the buyers, I'm going to talk about reaching the consumer before the show, during the show, and after the show with the media. Now, these are the services that you're going to need that can help you, but you're going to have to do these before the show begins and over the next couple of weeks. And the first service that we have is the media list. And the 2013 media list is available on the same page as the buyer. And the media list is on the same page as the buyer list up on the website. It is password protected, the same as the buyer list, and you use your Housewares Connect passwords. If you have a PR agency and you do not wish to share those passwords with them, you will have to download the list for them and give it to them or give them your login information. IHA does not give that out to anyone but a company representative. So if you are a PR agency, please do not send me an email asking for that information or for me to send you the list. You will have to get it from your client. The pre-registration list will be available in a couple of weeks. We close off media registration February 16th, and then we'll load it either later that week or early next week so you can see who is going to be at the show. And remember, all of this is free to use. Now, the next one is the new product information for news media listing. And Perry had mentioned that earlier. And these are new product listings that are only seen by the news media through their briefcase in Housewares Connect 365. Now, I know we've been talking for almost an hour, and Perry has mentioned a lot of buyer services, and if you look through the marketing kit, you see that we have a lot of media services that we offer you. And you should just say, Deb, there's just way too much. I can't really do it all. I'm a small company, or I just don't have the time or the resources. I would encourage you to make this the one service that you do take advantage of, other than getting the buyer in the media list. It's free, and it's your way to get your product information to the news media. Now, you enter, the information goes into your Housewares Connect 365 listing. You do it through the link in the marketing kit. And the easiest way, the reason we do it there is because the PR agencies can enter the information. When you go, you just click on the link off the marketing kit homepage, and it takes you to the page that explains the service, and then there's a search box. Simply enter the company name, the exhibitor's name, and then it'll find it in the system. You click on that name, you click on the link, and then it'll take you to the entry page. And then you just enter all the information, the product name, a brief product description. You can submit one photograph, and then you choose a category, one of 20 categories that you would like the products listed under. And these are what the media is going to be searching for. And then it goes into your 365 listing, and then when the media sign into 365 and they sign into their briefcase, there is a search listing of all these categories for them to search for these listings. Now, if you just go to your listing through Housewares Connect 365, you're not going to see it. You will not see these listings. The buyers will not see it. The consumer will not see it. I will not see it unless I'm in my briefcase. So you can be rest assured that only the media will see these. If you have new products that you don't want anybody to know about until the show, this is a great way, other than the media, because they do, work on early deadlines. This is a great way to get, this information out there and to put these listings up there. This is a duplicate of, unfortunately, of the product listings that you would do in 365, where you do your product image and you enter the product image and a brief description. And you can, unfortunately, we don't have a way to link it, so you can only enter this information once. You have to do it, if you want the buyers to see it in your 365 listing, you have to do it through the exhibitor portal on 365, and then also through the marketing kit. Now, this is your exhibitor portal on Housewares Connect 365. And as you can see down under additional marketing opportunities, there is a link that says new products for the media. So if you are in 365, updating your listing and everything, and you want to do these new product listings, simply click on that link, and that will take you to the marketing page and to the entry box, and then you can start the process there. And we're going to make these listings available to the media next week, so I would encourage you to get them up there as soon as you can. Another benefit of this information is my PR team looks at these listings. I do a poll every week, and the PR team looks through the listings to find products that they think the media would be interested in, and then we may be requesting a sample to have in the news center to show the media when they come, or they may let the media know about some of these products as examples of stories that they are pitching to them. Now, the second most most frequent question I am asked at after what's new. That's the first most frequent question I am asked. The second is, who's going to be at the show? And we have a way for you to tell the media about who's going to be at the show if you're going to do a demonstration, and that's the special events product demonstration. Now, this is the same listing as the in-booth appearance in Housewares Connect 365. So if you've done it through the in-booth appearance link in your 365 portal, you don't need to do it through the marketing kit. If you're a PR agency and you want to enter the information about a demonstration the exhibitor is going to be doing, or a celebrity appearance or a chef appearance, you can do it through the marketing kit entry because you don't need those passwords. All you do is enter the company name and the system will find it, similar to the new product listings, and then you enter the information and it goes into their 365 listing. This is a free service. The deadline we say is March 13th because if you enter it after the show, there's no reason in that. So the earlier you can get that information up there, the better. We will be pulling these listings for the media. We also point the media to 365 and tell them to search for this information as well. Then during the show, we have a couple of services to help you get exposure with the media. The first is the Show News Center. And the News Center is the headquarters for the news media when they come to the show. And this is where we will put out your press kits for distribution to the media. We usually get 300 to 400 or more editors and producers and writers coming and bloggers coming through the News Center. We ask for 75 to 100 kits. And your kits should include a press release, photo, a catalog sheet, contact information about your company. We encourage you to put your company name on the front of the kit. In the next slide, we have a picture of the News Center. This is how we put out the kits. And as you can see that we do it alphabetical by company. We put them in plastic bins. Now, if you want to do a CD or a thumb drive, we will accept those as well as the paper kits, but I encourage you to put a tag on the thumb drive, a hang tag with the company name so people know who they are. I will caution you that thumb drives usually are the first to go because everybody wants that little drive to use after the show. They may, look at your information and then either save it or, wipe it off the drive. We really don't have any drives left, after the show. But if that's the way you want to go, that's fine. We also give the media suitcase boxes. And one of the first things they do when they come to the News Center after they get their badge is they'll start going through the press kits, and then they pack them up. And we will ship the kits back to their offices after the show free of charge. That's a service we provide to you as an exhibitor to get your information to the news media so that they have it throughout the year. We won't ship your extra kits back to you. You would have to come pick those up before we close on Tuesday, the last day of the show. And if, please do check in to see if we have any kits left. I know it's expensive to put together a kit, and, we want you to take back any extras that you have. If you are in the Inventor's Corner, you do not have to do a separate press kit for the News Center. Stephanie is putting together one press kit for me with all of the Inventor's Corner participants' information. We sent you out an email last week. She sent you an email with information about that. Please send her your press release or your catalog sheet for inclusion in that, and then we'll have one kit for all the inventors. If you don't know how to do a press kit, we have a tip sheet called How to Put Together a Press Kit on the marketing kit that you can download for more details. Okay, so now you say, Deb, it's just me, I'm a small company, I don't have an in-house PR person, or I don't have a PR agency, I don't know how to write a press release, but I do want to get some materials to the media. This is one of the few services that we charge for. It's the Virtual Press Release Writer Program, and even you can write a press release. Just go to the online form and answer. There's about 35 questions or so. They're very easy, like what's your booth number, what expo are you in? I think it's a drop-down menu. enter your the company name, the product name, a brief product description, answer some other questions about the product, and then that merges it into a press release, and in about 48 hours, you will receive a Word document that you own. This is yours to keep and use however you wish. You can print it on your letterhead to put in a paper press kit. You can put it, you can post it, make it a PDF file, and post it in your 365 listing. You can put it on a CD. You could put it on your thumb drive. You can put it in an email and email it to the media. We have a list of all the trade publications in the marketing kit, so with the editor's contact information. I encourage you to send your new product news out to them and let them know about, what new products you're going to have. The cost is $75 per release, and like I said, you'll get the releases back in about 48 hours. It's done by a very reliable third-party vendor who's a very good writer. Then I want to talk about media registration for just a moment to let you know, because you know that buyers wear a green badge. The news media has a blue badge. And we break down the news media into 3 different types of classifications. So the blue, underneath that blue stripe, it will say either news media, which is your traditional print and broadcast media, or internet media, which are news websites or internet-based news publications. And then this year we added the blogger classification. And this is for your typical, your mommy bloggers, the food bloggers, people that are just out there and they have a website. It's just a blog. It's not a news website. It's not a website component of printed publication. They're just who you know as bloggers. And so, when they come to your booth, this will help you easily identify who they are. At IHA, we consider publicity to be free. And if somebody comes into your booth and wearing a blue media badge of any type, whether it's news media, it says news media, internet media, or blogger, and they say, I'll cover your product, but I want you to pay for it. I have a sponsorship fee, or we'll do a video of your company and your product, but there's a production fee you have to pay. That is not news media. That is a business relationship. That's pay for play, and we do not consider that media. Please let me know either during the show if somebody comes to your booth and offers to sell you a service like that, or let me know after the show. And I will make sure that they do not receive media credentials next year. Or if we hear about it during the show, I'm happy to take away their media badge and make them a trade guest, and because that's how we consider those people to be trade guests. Now, some of you work with PR agencies, some of you don't. If you would like to work with a PR agency, I have a list of agencies that I've worked with over the years that have Housewares clients, and I'm happy to share that with you. So please contact me, either call me or shoot me an email, and I'm happy to share that list with you. Now, after the show, in about mid-April, as Perry mentioned with the buyer list, you'll receive the 2014 media list will be posted up on the website. And we encourage you to use this list to follow up with the media who attended the show. Use this list as your year-round pitch list. I would like to caution you, though, with both the 2013 list from last year and then the pre-registration list that we will have up, and then this list after the show. Be cautious in who you email to. I wouldn't do a mass emailing to everybody on the list. I would go through and select the media that you think would be interested in your products. In the last couple of weeks, I've received some contact from some media who were at the show last year, and obviously our exhibitors are doing a great job because they have been inundated with emails and information about the exhibitors and their products for the show this year. And they've actually asked me to take them off the list because either they're not coming to the show this year or they're not interested in Housewares. So I would be judicious. I would look at the list and choose the publications or the bloggers or the radio or TV stations, the programs that you feel would be interested in your product. Not everybody might be, so you don't want to be wasting your efforts on those people who aren't. Throughout the year, we encourage you to update your Housewares Connect 365 listing with your new products. I do send the media there throughout the year, not just during the show. So that's a great way for them to know about your information. And then in June, we will have our Hot Housewares for the Holidays press event. We hold 3 a year in New York to give our exhibitors and IHA members exposure to the consumer news media in the New York region. We had our show preview a couple of weeks ago, and it was a great success. The media loved seeing a preview of the products coming out in March. And then in June, we're going to do the holiday one, and this is for the gift guide editors and the editors to help them see the products that you will have coming out for the fourth quarter holiday selling season. Because they do work 4 to 6 months ahead of time, and so they do kind of want that information in June to keep for the fall when they start doing their gift guides. I will be sending out an email to the PR contact at our member companies in early April with the sign-up information. So if you are interested in our press events, please sign up as soon as you can. They do sell out very quickly. This event is limited to 40 companies, so don't wait.
And this is a pay-to-play.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, our press events, we are a not-for-profit trade association, and the hotel does charge us to have the event there. So the entry fee is $950 for one company representative, and then it goes up incrementally for 2 and 3. But that is really to cover our costs with the hotel.
I would share with you that a number of exhibitors have told us about other press events that they've done. They cost up to $4,000, and they're not focused, the media is not focused on one category as they are for us. So I think you'd find, if you haven't experienced this, you'd find that this is a tremendous value. And again, as Debbie mentioned, for us it's a break-even opportunity. Our goal is to make sure that Housewares gets the broadest possible media exposure we can get. Anything else, Deb?
No, that's it.
Debbie O'Connor, any other questions?
No, not at this time.
Okay, on the screen, one more time, you will find all of our contact information. We encourage you to ask questions. We're happy to answer them. If you can, if a question occurs to you next week or later on this week.
We do have a question that just popped up, Perry.
Good.
If someone goes to their directory on Housewares 365, where will they be able to see if a buyer added them to their briefcase?
That is not, they will not know that. The buyers have asked us not to share that, and I suspect that they would be less likely to put you in their briefcase if we told you who they were. So they've asked us to leave the communication up to them.
Perfect. That's all we have.
Okay. Again, our contact information is here. We'd be happy to offer advice. We'd be happy to offer more assistance if you didn't get all the questions answered today. So let us know by phone, by email. We'll be happy to help you. Remember, we all want to be ready for March 15th, and we want to make it the most successful show we can make it. So let us help you. Let housewares.org/marketing help you, and have a great show. Thank you.